Right.
Say what you get now?
Yep.
Well, the problem with the datura plant, or the thorn apple, or the devil's weed, it's also known, is it's exceedingly dangerous because it creates a complete alternative reality which you're in. It's like a waking dream state. So you might think you were at a bar, you might think you were drinking a drink in a bar, you might think you were talking to friends, you might be carrying on to talking to them, but you might not actually be, you wouldn't be in any of those places at all, and the people you were with would not be able to see any of the stuff you're experiencing, and so to them you would be completely insane because you're talking to people that aren't there, you're drinking drinks which aren't there, you're carrying out actions which don't make any sense in the actuality of where you really are. Okay, and if you're out in a public place, this would obviously be very, very dangerous because you could be like in the middle of the road, okay, where you could still get run over, but you'd think you're actually in a room or doing something else. Okay, so that's how bad it is. And to give you an example of an ex-friend of mine, he's ex because he's no longer with us, he died years ago. Mike was once on datura, and he had a canister of Ajax, a scouring powder, and he was about to put it to his mouth, and I took it off him. And he complained to me for taking his bottle of Newcastle because he thought I'd stolen his bottle of Newcastle. And he believed he was in a bar in Cardiff. He wasn't. He was on a landing in a house in a suburb of Cardiff. Okay. At another point on the same trip that he was on, he was talking to a jacket which was on a coat hanger on the wall. And it was my jacket, and it was a yellow satin jacket. And Mike thought it was a woman who was meditating. And he was talking to her, and he said that she was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen, and he was sharing a joint with her. And he's going like this, and then taking it back, and he's saying, yeah, and thank you. And he was just talking. He said, and I see that you meditate, and this is very spiritual, and but you smoke as well, yeah? And he's carrying on this conversation with a coat hanger, a jacket. So that is sort of how totally bizarre the whole experience could be for somebody that's on datura. And then, apart from all of that obviously being very dangerous in the reality you're in, when you come off it, you probably forget everything that you've seen and done while you are on it. And you also feel exceedingly ill, you may shake really badly, and your sight gets really bad, and you feel like terrible. So, because it is actually a very toxic substance. It contains scopolamine and hyoscine and atropine, which are all very dangerous alkaloids, and so basically that's why it should be avoided, and why it is known as a devil's weed, because it is, if you like, a plant that if anything was controlled by evil, that would be it. So that's what I've got to say about datura, devil's weed, thorn apple.